welcome to Let's Talk Games. I'm Fettouhi, and today we have a special guest here. It's local from the Speed Gamers, and aka Robbie or Robbie Davis in full name. And how are you today?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm good. I'm actually it's evening over here, and the sun is coming down slightly. The Steam sales have just changed 1.5 hours ago, which is I did expect that their Battlefield series was gonna go on sale today. It was probably the last thing they could actually sell on Steam. I was looking at the EA catalog, and Dead Space was definitely obvious, which you guessed right there.
hmm Yeah.
But did you pick anything up this past week?
I picked up Dragon Age Origins, the Ultimate Edition, and Mass Effect 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely great games. How are you liking Dragon Age? I have it. I have the Origins package, which was on sale like last Christmas, I think. But I haven't played. I played max half an hour of it. How long have you been playing it?
I played about 3 hours of it, and I really like it. It reminds me a lot of Neverwinter Nights mixed with some Mass Effect or KOTOR type style. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a little bit more sophisticated than those games. Pretty much a little bit like Mass Effect because the dialogue has some small effects on how the story progresses from what I've seen so far of the game.
Yeah, the only problem I've had with the game right now is trying to keep my DLC authorized on my account, and apparently that's been a huge issue with some BioWare customers. But what did I do to fix it? Oh, I had to go into the Steam Apps folder and allow the service exe and the game exe to run as administrator every time.
Okay, that's weird. Is there not a fix from BioWare out for this yet?
Uh, I mean, there's not officially because there's a lot of different reasons that cause it. So I looked up this FAQ and that some customer had wrote, and I followed the steps, and he didn't actually have the same issue I had, but I had figured out mine.
Yeah, it's weird sometimes. Actually, I picked up. I'm a Need for Speed fan, and I picked up. I liked the Underground series when that came out,
Hmm.
and Underground 2. And the last thing I played was Most Wanted, which I actually really liked. So I've heard that Most Wanted was, or Undercover was a lot similar with Most Wanted. So I picked that up, and this had the same issue. There was actually a mission that gets the program to crash, and Steam or EA didn't have a patch for it officially. So you have to manually patch it by copying files from a zip file that I found a guy on FAQ actually also posted on the Steam forums and said you have to copy those into specific folders and it will work. And I don't understand and they say and this it's a issue that Steam and EA have known for a long time but haven't fixed yet. And it's a little bit stupid to have to do those manually setups there, especially for people who are having trouble and don't know a lot about the computers and how to copy things from folders to folders.
Yeah, it definitely hurts them for the non-tech savvy people.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, they sell them when you pay like $3 or $5 for a game, people don't actually figure that stuff out. So it's annoying for those hundreds of people out there who buy the game and just want to play it, and it has error on it because there's no update for it.
Hmm.
But it's been a fun week. Do you know why there was a week EA sale? Because I couldn't figure it out if it was just for fun or for something. Because there's nothing special going on this week. At least not here over in Europe. Is there something going on over in the US?
I don't think so. I think EA just said, Steam, we need some money, so sell our stuff.
You should think that Portal 2 has sold so much, and isn't it still the top seller on Steam?
Probably.
Yeah, and it's still $50. It's incredible. It's probably going to be the most selling game on Steam as statistic wise, in my opinion, this year. I don't think there's a Valve game coming out this year that has the same publicity.
No, definitely not. I wouldn't guess there to be another Valve game at least in 2 or 3 years.
Probably. I actually did you see? I was reading on Kotaku, and I don't go so much to Kotaku anymore because of their crappy website right now. Uh, you probably agree on that.
Yeah.
But I actually saw, where was it, that they posted a guy interview made from another website, another man who posted on YouTube. Um, where he actually interviewed Gabe Noel from Valve, saying that uh, saying some interesting things. I didn't hear the interview, but I read the small the small resume of it, and he actually said that something they did with Portal, where you see actually you play the single player, and I know you played the single player, and I have, and I've seen the co-op. It actually because actually blends the whole single player experience together because people actually expect more and more out of a single player experience because so many people are interested in co-op.
Yeah.
Uh, and he called it something. He called that single player doesn't matter anymore, but the single player experience differentiate. So he called it single player plus.
Hmm.
But the funny
Interesting.
thing, yeah, it is interesting. The funny thing is that I think people should, a lot of people are angry about Portal because the single player is so short. I'm almost three quarters into the game, and I've only been playing a couple hours again, the single player again, and that's because I know know all where to go and know how to shoot the right portals and where to go and all that. But I still love the game. I can definitely see that people say the single player is short, but if you say the single player is both the co-op and the single player experience, it's actually a full game.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't beaten the single player yet. I'm taking my time. I'm trying to get all the achievements that I can as I go, um, to savor it. But I've already beat the co-op, and I can say that the co-op is great. It was very well done, especially on consoles.
Yeah, I'm hoping, or I am gonna, as soon as PlayStation Network, which we're gonna talk about a little bit later, is gonna come back, hopefully soon. I am gonna experience the single play or the co-op because I bought it on PlayStation, so I have the Steam version for free with it. So I'm gonna play with my brother because he hasn't played at all the game, and I think that would probably be the best for anybody who is gonna play the co-op because as most people would think that if you play co-op with a person who already played it, he's going to pretty much drag you along through the whole thing because he knows how to beat the levels.
Yeah, I mean that's true to some extent, but it you tend to forget a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true also because I um, actually when I played Portal 2 here a couple of hours ago, I actually had trouble with with one of the levels later on in the game, and I was just like thinking, I've beaten this level and I know how to do this, but why can't I figure it out? It was just like a stupid thing that I forgot that I needed to use some propulsion gel or something.
Yeah,
So it is a game you can experience more often because it challenges you. It is a bit of a puzzle game, and it actually is an interesting way of breaking, exercising the mind or some kind. But enough about that. Pretty much. Let's talk a little bit about PlayStation network, which has been having a lot of issues lately. Uh,
Way to start.
yeah, it's been, what is it? It's 2 weeks now. Yeah, 2 weeks now it's been down because of a hack. And have you read anything about it at all? I'm pretty sure you have.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was some they hacked into the system and they had compromised or stolen a bunch of people's names, addresses, email addresses, passwords, but not necessarily their credit cards. They were very vague on that. They said that we don't think that they've stolen the credit cards, but we can't rule out that possibility.
Yeah.
Um, and then what? Let's see, that happened like 2 days before they shut down the network, I think, and they had to get an external security team in there to figure out the scope of the damage.
Yeah, it's because they need to. Well, it's hard to have a team, and I think Sony. Well, Sony probably has a team of probably 100 or 200 people in staff solely for their whole PlayStation Network for this scenario. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of such a huge company. I'm not sure, but it's hard to even for 100 people to be specialized in everything area, and security is actually a huge area for some people for such a actually a small part of the IT world. And I can definitely understand why they shut it down and went to a company that specializes in it and asked for help. And I think the problem is with, as you said, that they weren't sure of the credit card information if that was stolen. That's because they couldn't figure out right at the moment that if if the hacker had gotten access to it and read the files that hold the credit card information.
Yeah, well, the thing is they're not sure about that. However, Sony Online Entertainment, they also got hacked, and all the credit card information from there was stolen.
Yeah, that happened this week, isn't it? If I remember correctly, early
Well,
this week, Sunday, Monday, if I remember correctly.
that's when they announced it, but apparently it happened around the same time as the attack on the PSN network.
Oh, okay. I didn't read that, but the whole thing, it's two separate networks. That's one thing I'm sure of. The PlayStation network and the Sony Online Entertainment are totally different networks, and I'm not and no, but none of the networks are up yet, if I remember correctly. But the funny thing is that, from what I've been told, my brother read this on a web page, and I can't remember the article, but he said what the hackers did. They had a PlayStation console, development console, had access to that, and it had installed PlayStation Network development on it. And what they did, they hacked through the network and changed the DNS so it actually got into the official PlayStation network, and through that they had full development access to the PlayStation network. That's how they actually got into it. That's what I've heard. Can't confirm it, but it's interesting it's interesting to see that they didn't figure out that they should actually not have their development network connected to their production network. I thought that most most common sense would be cut these networks separately and don't have any interconnection links with it.
I've read an article about one of the security experts that they called in. He testified in some court or something. I can't remember, but he said that this PSN network was running a plain Apache server that was unpatched for like 2 years.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Apparently,
But
it was
what?
broke.
Well, to an extent, because all this issue here has pretty much all the problems with. There's been no problem with the PlayStation Network for at all until it got hacked, and the hack has been probably uh, been caused by all the bad press that Sony's gotten with Chewhot and all that, and some people have gotten mad on it. But the thing I don't understand, why hackers or people that are mad about this OS, other OS gone, and Geohot getting sued and going with a compromise on Sony behind the courtroom and with clauses that he can't talk about it. Why do people hack the system and take the gamers' information out and threatens them? That's what
Um,
I don't understand.
I really don't know. I think that they just wanted to make a statement to Sony, I guess.
Yeah, but then again, now if we're and I'm my bet is that the people that hacked Sony Online Entertainment, which is a separate branch of Sony, uh, they hacked that. That's not only PlayStation. That's PC. Actually, most because Sony Online Entertainment specializes in MMO and services. That means EverQuest, EverQuest 2, Vanguard, DC Online, which of course is mostly PlayStation subscription or 50/50 probably, but it's pure MMO. So there's a PC version, and and these people steal their credit card information. I can understand saying, okay, we can compromise your network, we could shut it down. They didn't even do that. They pretty much just stole things from them, which I can say that why people are saying, well, good luck, Sony. Sony deserved this.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't deserve it because they've treated us pretty well. I mean, sure that they've gotten rid of the other OS option, but I don't really care about that. I know some people really want to run Linux on their PS3 for some reason, but it's not that big a deal.
Well, I don't understand because you can go out and buy if people really want to run Linux, you can buy for probably $50 a really old laptop that will run some small Linux pack perfectly because Linux really doesn't need that much power. I
Yeah.
can see that people want to develop small software uh, for um, for the PlayStation and homebrew on it because they own the system, yeah, but they don't. As we all know, you don't own the services that PlayStation and Sony provides. That means PlayStation Network and all the other small things that are in. That's Sony on, and that's why they are locking up the system. That's why Microsoft locks up their system. So if they want to develop on it and make a contribution to the Sony system, get a development kit like everybody else. It costs money, but the hell, everybody that want to be a serious developer and make games or programs or anything, they pay up for the development kit.
The only thing I can consider even being upset about for with Sony is the removal of the PS2 emulation because that was, I mean, I think every console should have at least the previous generation's backwards compatibility.
I can agree with that, but I think this here has been debated up since the PlayStation got launched and they took it out because the 40 gigabyte version came out, and that was simply to reduce price. People were so upset about the $600 price tag at launch, and it didn't sell that well. And the problem is with a PlayStation 2, they need the chip, a specific chip that's inside. That's what, from what I've read, they need a specific chip that actually makes the PlayStation 2 run the games well. From what I've read, from small posts around Joystick, Kotaku, and all the other things that Sony, I think a half year ago, patentized a small thing that should be a USB adapter or some kind that actually hold some kind of information or a chip or something that makes it able to for the PS3 um, to run the PlayStation 2 games. But the problem is we haven't seen anything of them. Sony, of course, has their hands full right now, actually getting their PlayStation Network up, which from rumors is it is up per se, but it's closed off for internal testing, which of course they've got to secure everything and make sure everything runs correctly. And they already said that they're gonna, of course, give a welcome back package to everybody that has an account, which I think is a huge gesture. A free
Mm.
game and a month subscription and all that. Plus, they announced that if you've been anybody has been a victim of credit card scandals and all that, they're gonna help out. They've announced it officially. It's gonna be case by case basis, of course, but I think I don't think a lot of companies. I think if Microsoft had this issue of some kind, I don't think Microsoft would do the same thing. It's really or Nintendo. It's really something special to go out and say we're gonna help out something that actually legal wise they don't have a they're not obliged to actually do.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt Microsoft would go to that extent. They would probably give everybody a free game, same with Nintendo or something. But to help out with the identity theft, that is a big deal. It's like, say, to me, it's kind of like if your grandparents go out and buy a PC, a Windows PC, and they do something stupid and they get their social security number stolen, it would be like asking Microsoft, "Hey, can you help us out with this because we bought your PC?" I mean, it's a little different than that because it's PlayStation and Sony's fault, but I mean, that's how it is to me.
Definitely, and I agree with you. It's they are not they don't have to do this, but I think it's a huge gesture for it. But I think also it's because of it all falls back on a bad publicity. They need to make sure that people are aware of that Sony will not abandon their customers, and I think they've gone the extra mile for them, and I think it's going to be a I think we're gonna say I think a lot of people are satisfied with that, but again, it's gonna be case based. So it's hard to say that some people might actually be. I think I think if Sony will not cover every amount. I think Sony will cover like, say if it's 100,000 or something, they're probably gonna help out with something. But if it's $100, I don't think they're gonna cover it. And there probably is also some things that you have to make sure that from your end as a customer can provide information that you actually didn't actually just went out and bought something and say, well, I never bought this. So you're
Yeah.
actually not ripping Sony off. So there's probably some things there. But it's sad to see. What's your best guess when the PlayStation Network comes up? I'm thinking probably a couple of weeks from now. Um, I'm hoping actually this week we're going into next Friday maybe we're gonna get up. But what's your expectations?
I'm thinking probably Tuesday or Wednesday, because obviously they're probably not doing anything right now because it's Sunday. Um, and they announced what Friday that they were doing internal testing and it was taking a little bit longer than they expected.
Yeah, and it's probably because there's some minor technical difficulties that they probably didn't see, and they need to rethink it. And you can't predict stuff like that. From what I actually figure out, this they actually pushed forward some of their plans because their plan was actually to move their data center already, and they said, well, since it's already down and all that, they pushed that ahead. So they're saying we're going to move it and we're going to totally rebuild it at the new center, which I thought, well, I actually thought when I heard this first, it was a break-in, like saying that somebody got into the server rooms and all that. And that's why they actually moved moved the data center just to make sure that nobody actually knew where it was. But as I read further in the article, I actually figured, okay, that's why they were doing it. But it's just like you don't expect if somebody hacks your system, you don't. The first thing you're gonna do is move the whole thing. That's the last thing you're gonna do.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's sad to see this. Well, to me, a lot of gamers has been nagging about playing online, but I'm been happy playing some single player games, and I have a lot of them. I know you don't own a PlayStation yourself, but your friend actually does. But have you talked to him and about how he feels about actually not being able to get online?
I'm not sure if he has really noticed. I mean, of course he's been pretty busy, but I don't think it really hinders that much. Do you need the PlayStation Network in order to like? Do you have to be signed in order to watch Netflix? That's
No, not from since I don't actually I can start up Netflix the program I think, but I can't actually use it so much because of the IP protection.
hmm
But from what I know, Voodoo, which is also a part of the PlayStation and Netflix, should be available because it's only programs that are running, and then the program actually goes into the as every other program that you're running on your PC or your iPad and all that goes directly into Netflix's server. So it doesn't actually go around, so you don't need to be signed in. The problem, what I've heard of, is when you buy a game, say you went out and bought like Dead Space, Dead Space 1, or something else, and you put it in, and it detects, for some strange reason, it detects, still detects that there's an update available. I've heard some people actually can't download it. The funny thing is, though, my brother actually bought Uncharted yesterday for his PlayStation, and he had the same issue that it said update, but it actually updated. So I don't know if it's because it's been fixed or if it's game to game issue, but that's some things that I've read on the internet.
it's possible. Like if you bought the greatest hits edition or something, they actually put the patch on the disc instead of just patching the game already and putting that on the disc.
Could be, could be. That's that could also be it. It's hard to tell because from what I would do if I was a vendor, is saying that don't put it on the disc because I don't have to reprint it. Just use old disc that I had lying around, put a new cover and sell it, and then have the patch download from that. So we don't know. It's speculation from that, but it's an interesting thought that some vendors actually reprint their discs, but especially if there's no actually extra content on it. I can definitely understand reprinting like Game of the Year edition because all the DLC for a game is on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Little Big Planet, the Game of the Year edition, it has all that extra stuff on it.
Yeah, and Borderlands and all that.
hmm
Um, but let's talk a little bit about Nintendo. Actually, just looked up an article on Joystick that the 3DS. I don't know. Do you actually own one?
No.
No, neither do I. But anyways, the 3DS. I've read a lot about the 3 hour battery issue. And Sony hasn't really, or sorry, Nintendo hasn't really actually said anything about it. But it looks like that third-party vendors are starting actually trying to release some extension for that. Hyperkin releasing its own 3DS battery expansion attachment.
hmm
It's and I think it's funny because I'm just gonna send you here the link here so you can actually check it out. It's $20 from what they actually saying, but I can't actually figure out from the article if it's actually how much it improves the battery um, as in lifetime. So it's it's going to be funny actually to see if it's only giving you an hour more because from what I've heard, it's actually from how much you use the 3D. If you have the 3D slider fully maxed, it's 3 hours or less. If it's down fully at the bottom, it's more like the normal DS for 6, 7, 8 hours.
Well, I know that Nico had one. They were the first one to have a power pack, and theirs, I think it extended it at least another 3 hours, so you get 6 hours total if it's on 3D, and then if it was slid down to none, you would get like 10 or something.
Oh, well, I didn't know actually. And Nico actually made one, but I can actually see they're actually talking about this here in the article, saying that it's priced at the same thing. So both packs are $20, but still, it's fun. It's one reason I don't. I actually thought it was nice for the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, actually being able to actually change the battery,
Hmm.
which the DS never had. But the DS never had the huge issue because I've already experienced that you actually almost never, when you took out your DS and played a game, you never needed to charge it if it was charged up because you would play as long as you want and never actually reach this limit because playing 10 hours on the DS would probably be insane, at least for me. Um, and the same with the Game Boy Advance, which I already also have. They're bad. Nintendo has always made a great product with great battery life when it comes to handheld, and I think it's a little bit weird that they took this 3DS and only said, "Well, 3 hours is the best we can do, and we are not gonna make it so you can swap batteries."
Yeah, it is very weird that they are just like, here's 3 hour battery life, deal with it. I don't really understand that mentality because I think they could do a little better. Even if they made it thicker, I would be okay with that. And they would probably be okay with that as well because then later they could sell the 3DS Lite.
Yeah, which is probably going to come anyways because it is a bit thicker than the DSi, isn't it?
Just I think slightly.
Well, I've only seen it behind glass. I've actually not touched it yet because over here we don't have actually uh, demos of hardware that much. Only if it's like consoles and stuff like that. But anyways, it's I think it's funny that from what I would definitely have suggested if I was a consultant for Nintendo or doing this 3DS project, I would have said, well, 3 hours is definitely not that long. I would definitely suggest putting in a battery, yeah, but make it so you can change it because then it's pretty much like, okay, the battery's out. I have an extra battery. Flip it in. 3 hours more instead of you have to be near a stupid charger or have an extra attachment onto your to your 3DS. But yeah, probably not going to happen in any time soon.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I figured that they'll, even though they said they're not going to sell a light version or anything like that, I think they will sell another version with a better battery life, or at least put out a different battery, like sell a different battery that has better battery life.
Yeah, but the problem is that there's we've seen this with laptops. Battery issues are there's been a ton of them. We've seen Dell, we've seen HP withdrawing their batteries back from customers because of uh, explosion or catching fire and stuff like that because the lithium batteries are so packed in with saying, well, we have 8, 10 cells, but the problem is when you charge it, it gets so hot because they're trying to force the battery into a small package, and it can't get rid of the heat. And then it self ignites. I've actually seen a video on YouTube, but it's crazy how it burns. So I think battery life. I would definitely say, well, I would rather see a removable battery than actually forcing on more power into a small area because of battery technology hasn't gone that much further the last couple of years from what I've read.
I've actually read a little bit different. They've improved battery life by what was it, adding small strands of metal into the battery, which improved the battery by like 3 times. It was crazy. So they were talking like you could have a 90-hour laptop charge.
Okay, well, I'm still waiting to see that because my battery life is still crap on even on a brand new laptop.
Yeah, I get like
Uh,
3 or 5 on my Mac here.
well, if I'm using my mine to for the fullest, and I only have a 4 cell battery in my Dell for from work, which only is like 3 months old, I get max an hour because
Yeah.
it takes so much power to power it. So and that's why I'm sure that the technology is that, but you don't see those batteries on there only if they cost a bunch of money. But it's strange. But well, let's hope the best for Nintendo, and especially that they figure out something with the battery life because I'm still skeptical about buying one. I still a little bit too, and of course, for me, still there's no games on the 3DS yet that I would that I would buy.
Yeah, I've played one. They had one at Best Buy over here, and it's pretty cool. You have to be in the sweet spot, of course, and it wasn't really anything that blew me away yet. But of course, the demo was Pilot Wing, so that's not a great way to start out. So
Not a system seller.
yeah, even though they're pushing it as one, I don't really get that.
Yeah, yeah, same here.
But well, I would be interested to see a Ocarina of Time demo. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time has been making all the debuts on game trailers joystick from trailers and trailers on. Again, it looks better than the first one. It's gotten the PlayStation 2 graphics, what I would call it. Uh, the 3D you can't, of course, see because you need to have, of course, a 3D image or a 3D screen of some kind to actually view it. But still the same game for me. I need something more. If it was a new Metroid Fusion or some kind there, then I would buy the system. I still have to beat the first Ocarina of Time on the GameCube or the Nintendo 64. Where it's been ported so many times, so it's incredible how many times they can resell the same product just by packaging it in and updating it just a little bit, which is cheap compared to making a whole new game.
Yeah, it is, and it almost makes you wonder if Nintendo is just living off of their old stuff. But
There are, in my opinion,
I don't know. It's tough to say because I think Twilight Princess did pretty well.
and I agree with you on that. But still, we're seeing that if they can't push a new IP or a new Zelda out, which is a brand new game, like for instance Skyward Swords, which we're going to talk a little about later when we get into Project Cafe. Um, we're in, we don't see it yet, but it's pro, it's for instance Twilight Princess when it came out for the Wii, it was already on the GameCube. We're going to port it over because we got new controls for it. And the same with this here, we don't have we for the 3DS we don't have a system seller, but we can because we know Ocarina of Time is so hugely popular with so many Zelda fans. If we put it in 3D, update a little bit, maybe put some treasures in there or some kind that could add to the story or the storyline, which nobody actually knows, it could sell for $50.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna sell for $50, at least in the
Yeah, just an
US.
example.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's funny, and I think for me because and for other people, I've been around since Nintendo started up with their Nintendo console, and it's just annoying for me seeing the same game again and again. I think it's a great game. I played it, but it's just weird that why not make an new IP because it's it's the right thing to do. You don't see other first party people from Nintendo sorry for Sony or from Microsoft doing it over and over again. It's only Nintendo that's doing it, and Sony has been around for a long time now with a console since the PlayStation. Uh, so it's just it's just weird that Nintendo has this mentality.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the people in Nintendo are starting to get older now, and that like Miyamoto's been there since almost since the beginning of Nintendo, and his mentality has changed. His newest IP was Nintendogs. We don't need that. It's getting less creative.
Maybe it's that, but I think also I can see it from both angles. From my angle, it's just trying to make money constantly. But I can also see that some people argue with saying we need to reintroduce people to probably the most famous Zelda game of all time, Ocarina of Time, which is probably is, and this can be, of course, debated in so many ways, but it is. It's probably the most successful game in the series. But I think they could at least put this out later and focus more on saying we're gonna support everybody and then add this on because I agree with trying to make money and all that and everybody, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, and all the third parties are there for in this business to make money. But I think just it's sad to see that such a new console and so many few new IPs uh, at launch and this year. I haven't seen any interesting brand new IP at all on this console yet or
Well,
this handheld.
I think Nintendo's just scared. Like I said before, they're just scared to make a new IP because it's going to fail and then they're not going to be able to handle making another Zelda game or something like that. Or I don't know. It's tough. But what I do know is that whenever they launch a new system, they need to push it back until they have better software for it, better games.
Definitely, Wii was definitely the right decision to do. They had Twilight Princess and a lot of other great games at launch for it, and the bundles just flew off the shelves. Of course, the gimmick was the big seller, since Wii Sports was, of course, is the most selling game until today. But it's just I think having a great lineup for a new console or handheld, whatever it is definitely true, and I agree with you on that. Um, Nintendo, as it's E3 is just around the corner. It's actually a month away, and I can't believe it's all this close. But Nintendo is one of the people. A lot of people are interested in because they already announced Project Cafe, saying that we're gonna make a new, let's call it Wii 2 just for the heck of it. It's probably not gonna be. It's gonna be a new console, HD as they at least promised, powerful. Uh, some say more powerful than the PS3. Some say as powerful as the PS3. We don't know. It's going to be be shown on at E3. Um, what are your expectations? They've been talking about it's going to have a new type of controller where there's a built-in touchpad like an iPad with gimmicks on it. What's your expectation on this?
Well, there's a lot of speculations, but I think the most prominent ones that I think will come true are the HD and the improved power graphics wise. Um, I think Nintendo's been bombarded with those requests with the Wii, so I think that's what they're gonna do. As far as gimmick wise, I really don't know what they're gonna do. It would be kind of weird to have a touchpad in your controller, and the Dreamcast kind of did it with the removable little game VMU.
Yeah, yeah. I never owned a Dreamcast, but yeah, I I remember people talking a little bit about that. The other thing is, people are saying maybe it's a 3D image, so you or 3D screen like it's on the 3DS, so you maybe have some interconnectivity between those two.
Yeah.
Any ideas on that?
I mean that would be pretty cool. I wish that there was better interconnectivity with their handhelds and their consoles to allow some sort of Game Boy player type of playback. But I really don't see Nintendo doing that.
Then the next question I have for you: what do you think of launch titles for the new system, and when do you think it's going to be released?
I think it'll be released mid next year, and launch titles will probably be new Mario and new Pikmin, if not just Pikmin, because they've been working on that for a while.
Okay, so you say that Skyward Swords is not going to be on the system, and it's going to come Christmas this year
Yeah,
for Wii.
yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna say if that's true, I think that would be a stupid move from Nintendo. I would definitely have the new Zelda pushing the system
well, I
if it's gonna be released next year.
what I think they're gonna do is, I think the Wii 2 is gonna have backwards compatibility with all the previous Wii controls and the Wii
Yeah.
games. So you could use like your Wii Motion Plus because all everything we've seen of Skyward Sword, they've used the Wii Motion or the Wii Mote with Motion Plus. So I doubt
Mhm.
that they're gonna adapt that uh, or they're gonna change that just for the new console.
I agree with you on that, and I've already read some articles saying with the not specs but speculations, of Project Cafe saying that Nintendo has said that the controls, the Wii remote, will adapt to the new system. But one thing I don't think is that it's that they're going to be pushed. They don't. I don't think they're going to have a successful launch without at least a huge seller. And for me, saying pushing back Skyward Swords to making it maybe better graphics and all that, and pushing it with the system and getting people because the whole thing issue here is that Skyward Swords is a Zelda game. We know people will buy it no matter what, pretty much.
Hmm.
But forcing people or pushing people in the direction to picking up the new console for this game would be a better. I think it would definitely improve the sales of the system maybe twice as much uh, that it could have been or could be. Uh, that's why I think they're not going to show. I don't think I don't think they're going to show Skyward Swords. I think they're going to announce the Skyward Swords will be exclusive launch for the Project Cafe, and my guess is that it if they've been working on this since the announcement of uh, um, the 3DS, let's say. I think this here has been in works for a long time. The Project Cafe. I think they will do. Um, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. I think they're going to do the smart thing and have something to push for it, and pretty much dropping everything off for that system.
I think, I think Skyward Sword is going to be the last hurrah for the Wii. And for the launch of the Project Cafe, they're going to push out something that's been anticipated for a while. And the only thing that I can think of would be Pikmin 3.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Nintendo games. You said to me you saw the Nintendo Select titles, which are pretty much what Sony has for the PlayStation Platinum titles for those games, right?
Yeah, Sony has greatest hits. I think Platinum is Xbox.
Mm. But Nintendo has never done this. They've never ever sold a a first party title budget wise, which is pretty much what they're doing now. And this is another thing is that we're still not seeing Nintendo actually pushing forward third party titles for any of their systems. It's lacking a lot. Still lacking. You see very few games for Nintendo third party being successful. The Conduit 2 has flopped totally. Nobody cares about it. And Conduit was a big expectating seller for the Wii, and now nobody really cares. And we don't have any ideas of your. Yes, we do. Miyamoto is saying Snake Eater is coming for the 3DS and all that. What are your expectations for third party support for the new system?
Well, if it has enhanced graphics and HD, I think that's gonna intrigue a lot of third-party developers because they've often had to scale down their games to fit Nintendo specs. But if they have these new things and the improved disc size, then I think the transition between consoles will be a lot easier for third-party developers.
Maybe we're definitely going to see Call of Duty 97 or something, whatever we're going to go on at that time is going to be released for it. No matter if it's old graphics or new graphics. But what about nobody has talked storage about it? Wii has horrible storage in my opinion. Has always have this SD cost system add-on that they did very little to improve it. So, what are your expectations for their storage solution?
I think they're going to have a finite amount in the console. However, I think they're going to have a lot of cloud storage. I also wanted to correct you on one thing. You said that Nintendo's never sold first party budget titles. That's not true. On the
Okay,
GameCube, they had the Player's Choice titles.
okay, but they've never done it since then
Uh,
because I didn't see it on. I've ne- I did well. We've seen it on the Wii one, but they haven't before. They didn't. I've never seen it on Nintendo's first console, the Super Nintendo, and all that. I remember always their new titles being pretty high priced.
um,
Even on the DS, I haven't seen it.
I'm looking at the wiki article right now, and apparently they had it on the 64 and the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy. Um, Apparently, some of the Player's Choice titles were like Donkey Kong Country and stuff on the NES or the SNES, and on the N64 it was like GoldenEye and Banjo Kazooie.
Could it have been region locked that it only was for US and Japan? Because I've never seen it over in Europe at all.
It does say something. It does say something about North America for N64, and they did have PAL exclusive SNES titles. Um, and there. It looks like there were very few PAL exclusive Player's Choice titles for the GameCube.
Hmm. Well, I skipped the GameCube, so that's why I didn't see it on that. But yeah, well, it's something we see rarely from Nintendo, and it's well, how long is since 2006? 6 or 7 has the Wii been out?
Yeah, they did it. Yeah, they're doing it at the very end of the cycle, and usually that's when people start to do it because they want to sell the games and try and sell the consoles and say, "Oh, hey, look, we have all these great games and they're very cheap."
Yeah, but the funny thing is, if we compare them to Microsoft and Sony, you see them always saying that, well, if a game has sold 1 million units, it's going into the greatest hits or platinum section. It's always been a specific amount that they put it in, so it's going to be sold cheaper. And I think actually, uh, for PlayStation, it was called Platinum for the first PlayStation 1, and I think it was also on the second one. And then after that, they went over to the greatest hits title for their cheap games. I don't know why they actually changed it, but it's funny that Nintendo is doing so late because this is pretty much the end of life for the Wii for many people because of the new console is well, if we're speculating right, it's coming at least in the next 12 months. It's going to be released either Japan only or worldwide, with probably a couple of months separate.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's see here. Microsoft. Let's talk a little bit about them. Um, I actually tried for the first time Connect. Uh, I think it was a week ago. I was my sister has gotten their hands on a new on a new Xbox and with a Connect, and I gotta say the tracking is horrible, really, and their living room is really huge. A lot of space and all that, and the tracking is not that good. The other thing that the other thing about it that I tried out, of course, was the voice command because those are pretty much the two things that the item can. The voice commands were also really limited, especially over here because the voice commands actually can't be activated if you have your region set for Europe. If any specific um, country that is non-English, that's a lot.
Yeah, I was wondering when you first said that whether or not you were speaking Danish to say like play or something.
No, what I did for getting the voice commands, or you have to go into your region setting and set it to US. After that, it will make it available. So you say Xbox Connect, or and then it will pop out the Connect features, and you can say Xbox Play Disc or Xbox that. But you can't say Xbox turn off or Xbox shut down. At least it doesn't work for me, and I tried it 10 or 15 times. So you can't turn your system off. And I was hoping that it would actually be able to turn it on also. Can't do that. So it is actually a little bit more limited than people say. The other thing that I tried with it was using your hand to navigate through your systems. That is really slow if you compare it to your game controller. What for instance go into for instance marketplace from the launch screen takes about 3 seconds with a controller.
Mhm.
Takes about a minute with that because it's really it because it's not like a mouse because with a mouse you're at least used to okay the flow of the mouse is okay. I know how to control it. When I point over here, it goes there. You know you have full control of the movement over it. With this here, it's just like getting over to the screen and just you need to hold it steady. It's not like you can push or click something. You need to hold it steady for X amount of time to get um, the circle bar fully full, and then it activates the icon. And it's just like, who wants to live with this? So for me, never gonna buy Connect. Have you tried it at all?
No, I'm not really interested in trying it, and I don't know, I'm anything like that. And I know the PlayStation has what the iToy, or well, now they have the Move, which is okay. But if you were just to strictly use the iToy for that, I don't really see it working out too well.
Nah. I have the Move, and compared to the Connect, it's so much more precise. It's easier to navigate. Just if you just say you want to use the Move to navigate in the cross media bar,
Hmm.
that's it's like having a mouse. It's so precise. You just move it. Okay, you it the feel is just it's the Connect feels like it has lag. It's just like it really takes time for it to follow your movements. Whereas you do with a mouse, it's instantaneous, no lag at all. It feels like it's actually a part of you. That's probably why it's so confusing for at least for me to actually figure out, okay, I need to be here and steady, and now it activates. But just a minor detail. I know a lot of people are happy with their Kinects, and God bless them for it. It's not at least it's not worth for me to go out and buy it for these. What is it, $100 or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and what I tried with the game was the Connect Adventures, which is oh god, that's something for if you see people playing that, they look like idiots. I know I did, but yeah, but since we're on Microsoft and we're nearing or E3 is a month away, do you have any idea what Microsoft is going to show? Because from what I've seen from Microsoft, we know Gears of War is coming out. They have their stupid Kinect. We know there's probably going to be some more Kinect stuff because they can't say, okay, we're not going to support it anymore because people have spent so much money on it. It's been a huge seller. Um, but what else is there? There's Halo is not there, and they still have a year of people to satisfy. At least from first party titles, is really small. Third party titles is not that huge an issue anymore because, well, it's probably going to be multi-platform. Most of them, at least all the big games that are coming out this year, are multi-platform. So if you have an Xbox or a PS3, you will have be able to play it. So it's pretty much first-party sellers that are getting people to say, "Oh, okay, I want to buy this console."
Um, I as far as Microsoft at E3, I really don't think they have anything. They're just gonna say this is what we have coming up, and it's gonna be a bunch of the stuff that they showed at the last E3, like what was it, Metal Gear Raiden or whatever.
Yeah, the and that's not even exclusive anymore. We already know it's going to come out for the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, and I mean, I really don't think they have anything exclusive that PlayStation's not going to have. Maybe Call of Duty, another Call of Duty, but that's not still not going to be exclusive. They're going to be like, well, we're going to get it first.
Yeah, or at least they're going to have exclusive DLC first.
Yeah.
That's what they did with the last Call of Duty. So yeah, I'm really skeptical how the new the E3 is going to be with the new Xbox system and all that because they already revamped the system last year, giving everybody at the conference free Xbox Slim or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Um, so that's out of the question. Price cutting, why do that if it still sells, or at least until other people cut price?
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. I'm still I don't know what to think. I still think that they have a hard time satisfying at least the first party titles from my perspective. I can only think of Gears of War 3 coming out.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of everyone else, they really have the least amount of stuff to show at E3. Um,
Yeah,
and Nintendo's got Project Cafe plus new Wii stuff plus 3DS stuff, and
yeah,
PlayStation they have probably some stuff for PS3. They're probably going to make a big deal about PSN, trying to get people back on board with it. Plus the NGP.
yeah. That's the next thing. We're gonna switch over to Sony and E3. Coming back to Sony again, NGP is probably going to be the huge issue there. They're probably going to have actually people being able to play it and showing off more of their first party titles and third party support. I know Drake is going to be on there, and I'm still speculating how the connectivity between the PlayStation 3 and that and NGP going to be released, and of course a price. We still need a price, official price. I'm still saying it's the $300 mark is what they're going for, $250 $300 mark. Yeah, and of course, after I think maybe the whole press conference deal is they probably already made their press conference or at least tuned it out script wise because it's all scripted. They have a
Yeah.
teleprompter going, so it's probably going to be revised now because they need to talk about this issue here and how it's going. But it's still speculating because we don't know what's going to happen when they relaunch it. Will the hackers try again just to kick him in the nuts while they're down, or will it be the best revamp at all times? Will they maybe say, okay, we're revamping, it's coming out, but they are missing a lot of updates. They've been talking about some huge updates coming out. Also, cross game invite has been something people have been asking for a long time. Could that come? Who knows?
Yeah.
But what's your idea? What's your expectation from NGP wise? Are you thinking there is going to be something connectivity between it because it's so powerful with the PlayStation 3?
Well, I think there's going to be like some connectivity like they did with Portal 2 with the Steam and PC sales. I think what they're going to do is say you buy this new PS3 game or even an old one. I'm not sure how they'll do that, but let's just say a new PS3 game, say Uncharted 3. Well, you pop it in your PS3 and then it gives you like a downloadable icon for your NGP. I think that would be
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Yeah, and maybe saying I could see saying bundling things up, saying you get if it's the same game, if it's the same game for both consoles, both systems, saying the NGP and the PlayStation 3, I think for a couple of dollars more, people should be able to download it for free or for a couple of dollars on their NGP, having a license for it because they already bought it and saying, well, I want to play it while I go. $5 more for getting a CD key or whatever it is to unlock it for NGP. Awesome. If it's two separate games saying the Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 3.5, uh, I think bundling it up would be nice, or at least an option to bundle it up.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think it's interesting to see how they were doing all those things because I've seen connectivity between Resistance 2 for the PlayStation 3. I don't know if your friend has that or if you've been playing it, but if you have Resistance 2 and you have Resistance Retribution on your PlayStation Portable, you can hook these up and synchronize them. And because Retribution is still based on you have a health bar, it will unlock a special mode where you actually, as newer modern first-person shooter has, that you have no health bar and just needs to you have recoverable health, uh, which is a nice feature for it. So that some connectivity through that could also be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, E3 still a lot of days away from that. But and third party titles are also going to show a lot of things off. We know that Ubisoft has their own conference, and yeah, EA has it. Uh, do you think we're going to see Valve on the stage again of some kind?
Did you say do you think we're going to see Valve?
Yeah.
Uh, Probably not. I really don't think they have anything to offer that they haven't already released right now.
So you don't think Gabe is actually doing Half-Life 2 Episode 3 undercover and actually may come out saying that this here could be on a console also?
If he is, I don't think he's near ready enough to announce that yet. Um, I think the only thing he could say is that he's gonna bring the Steam overlay to Microsoft eventually.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that I don't know if Sony paid Valve a lot of money because Portal 2 is out on Xbox, but
Hmm.
that's the only system you can play into connectivity with Steam with. PlayStation 3 is the only one who can actually play on cross platform. So it's funny if it's like saying that Microsoft doesn't want access to it, or they're saying, well, we pay you money. You can't get. We have exclusive on Portal. You can't open for that. But later on, could the Steam cloud be able to play with all people, no matter what console you have?
I think that's definitely a possibility, and I think that would be a smart move for Valve and Gabe Newell in the future. And of course, they would have to update it with each upcoming console, but that would expand their perception to people, like say people who don't play PC games all the time, because most PC gamers know of Steam and Valve.
Yeah, because I well, we both of us have Borderlands, and we play both on Steam. But I for my first Borderlands experience was on PlayStation 3, and because it was so much on sale on Steam last year at Christmas and all that, a lot of people got it on PC. So more people are actually playing it through Steam than on PlayStation right now. And since the PlayStation Network is also down, it's hard to play. But it would be nice to not having to own two copies of the game to play with people on Steam. That would be definitely nice.
Yeah, it would
But
be.
yeah,
Um, I was gonna say something. I can't remember. Oh, I was gonna say I hope Ubisoft or Ubisoft, whatever, however you pronounce it, releases a release date for Beyond Good and Evil 2.
yeah, that's been real in the making for a long time. The last saw was some small screenshots of it. I haven't seen anything of it since. Uh, the HD remake of Beyond Good and Evil, is that out at all?
Actually, that's a good question. I don't know. Let me.
Let me check up on that because I think I've seen some rumors about it. Beyond Good and Evil. If I can spell. Beyond Good and Evil. HD. And that's the arcade. Shit, is it out? Hmm. Yeah, it is out. Xbox Live and PlayStation Network.
When did it come out?
That's the next part of it. The wiki says it's. Let's see here.
It says March
March
2nd.
18th. No, it says March 18th over here. So,
Oh, weird. Do you have like a different article? Because this says, um,
well, it's probably because the European one. There's probably a couple of
okay.
weeks apart, but no, it actually says premiere March 2nd. So I don't know why it's. Ah, yeah, stupid post. Somebody posted something wrong here. It's March 2nd, so it's out. I actually haven't seen it on PlayStation Network. Maybe I should actually try looking at it when it comes up.
It
But
says that it was on Xbox Live Arcade as of March 2nd, while the PlayStation Network version will be released in May.
that's why. Okay, so it's not out yet for PlayStation Network. It should have been out.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to come out this month here when the PlayStation Network is risen from its grave. But yeah, E3 around the corner. A lot of things. Do you have any games that you're looking forward to this year at all? I know my favorite game right now is. I actually have three games right now. Two of them are coming out this month. LA Noir coming out the May 20th. Brink coming out May 13th. And of course, my big expectation for August is, of course, Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Cool. I'm looking forward to let's see, Mass Effect 3 whenever that comes out. Um, Dragon Siege 3. Uh, let's see. Oh, Duke Nukem, the new one.
Yeah, I'm getting that, but it's not on my saying that it's a title that I'm expecting highly from.
Okay. Then there's of course Skyward Sword, but I'm really probably the biggest one I'm looking forward to see how they do is The Last Guardian. which has been in the making for a really long time.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
that's correct.
I recently heard that it got delayed again.
Yeah, the that software company that's making The Last Guardian, and of course is the maker of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, is a weird company. From what I know, are these only the three titles that they have worked on.
Yeah.
Two of them are released on the PlayStation 2. Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are going to be remade into an HD version like God of War and be bundled in, but the problem is that's not out yet also. So they are behind a couple of things, and it's a weird company. I actually can't remember what the company is called, but they make really really good games, especially hugely cinematic and open world experiences.
I'm looking up the company right now. It's Team Ico. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's called Team Ico. Okay.
They're like game making savants. The first two games that they came out with were amazing. I don't really understand it.
I still need to play Shadow of the Colossus. I still haven't played it. I have it on PlayStation 2. I actually bought it retail just because people were talking about it. That's a game that came under the radar over here for me in Europe.
Yeah.
That I never heard about it until I started talking to Brit and all that, and it's talking about what games were amazing back in the old days.
Yeah.
Um, but since we talked about LA Noir, you mentioned yesterday we were talking over the internet that you've seen that LA Noir has been announced or has announced they're gonna or already have released a couple of novels on LA Noir Rockstar.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, what I saw today that they are releasing also two soundtracks for the game.
Oh.
One called LA Noir. Oh, give me a sec. LA Noir. One of them called LA Noir Remix, and the other one is called LA Noir Original, I think. It's going to be sold separately, sadly, from what I've seen. There's not going to be a bundle. That's the other strange thing. No special edition at all
Yet.
yet. Uh, I don't think it's going to come. Yeah, LA Noir official soundtrack and LA Noir remix, and it's gonna be jazz and music from the 1940s, of course. So, I mean, all Rockstar games have had great soundtracks. So I'm really interesting to see what they mixed up this time. So that's gonna be fun. Probably gonna be a big game this year,
Yeah.
but yeah. That's pretty much it. We've been around all console manufacturers. We've been around a little bit PC, a little bit about that, what we've always been doing. Um, can you think of anything else we missed?
Um, Not really. I mean, yeah, we went over the Steam sales and stuff like that. Not a whole lot has happened besides that and the PS3, PSN being down.
No, it's been real. It's been a little bit slow, but people also gathering up all their information for a big E3. So it's hard to say, but just gonna have to wait and see what happens. It's always an exciting time around E3 and the summer.
Yeah. Who do you think is gonna win E3?
I'm I think Nintendo will win this year if they have a really good console to show off. It's going to be a huge talk around it. That's the sad part of it. I'm thinking that Sony would probably surprise a little bit around the area of apologizing and maybe. Maybe giving some great feedback on the system, but I think Sony's not going to steal the show this year. It's going to be It's going
Nintendo.
to be Nintendo. Nintendo. Game wise, I think it's going to be Sony. Nintendo is probably going to show off with their new console. Microsoft is not going to show anything. That's what I think. But there's no winners in this. It's more like if you're a fan of this console and that's your primary thing, you're probably always going to stick with the console that you have.
Well, that's not true because I know you're a big Sony fan, so it's a big deal for you to say Nintendo's gonna steal the show.
For me, yes, but that's because I'm realistic here. Because I know if you have a new console to show off, it is gonna show off. But hey, I read an article on Joystick actually a couple of weeks ago saying that they talked to not Miyamoto, but the guy who was the head honcho at Nintendo, saying the vitality sensor is still coming and it's not a joke. And I'm still thinking that's the biggest joke Nintendo pulled off ever
Yeah,
because nobody's going to take that seriously.
yeah, I really don't see any practical applications for it. It's just gonna be a nuisance to play anything with it.
Definitely, definitely.
But
But yeah, it's if I there if they say we got a new console, we are gonna push the vitality sensor with this new console, they're definitely not gonna win. That's a flop. Putting in the vitality sensor at all, but
probably.
I'm they're probably gonna steal the show. It's all depending on if Sony has some great things with the NGP. These are the only two companies that has anything hardware related to show. Rest is software, and Sony has, in my opinion, the last couple of years always have the best third party and the best first party lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Nintendo, they they had a good first party lineup going, but none of that has been released yet. I mean, they showed off Twilight Princess. That was probably the big thing. Well, besides the 3DS, and they showed like Wii Sports Mix or something. Nobody cares.
Skyward Swords was shown with a really bad
Demo.
demo of it,
Yeah.
uh, which was, of course, well, they were saying it was Wi-Fi and mobile phones and all that. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but it's all that because of Sony or because Sony is such a huge company, just like Nintendo, but they are pushing so much more for first party and third party. Have really good reputation with third party people, third party vendors. Um, Nintendo has a bad reputation in that as I said before, every third party title almost flops on their Wii. So uh, that's why we see so few games because they have to make them themselves, and they can't make a game every year, especially not a quality game. Uh, that's why we see so few Mario's, so few Zeldas, Metroids, Pikmin. They can't keep up, and that's why. In general, I think catalog wise, so Nintendo is behind a lot of the other console manufacturers compared to what they were years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I think the only thing I would like to see Sony do this, and it would make up for the PSN for me, is if they got that translator guy on the stage again. You remember him?
Oh yeah, you mean? Oh, I think he's gonna be there again. I think what's his called? Oh God, I can't remember his name. No, not Kent Brockman. What is his name? Oh
Kent
God.
Brockman?
Yeah, just something that blew into my mind. Uh, oh, what's his name? Come on. PSP. Let's see.
I thought it was
This-
for Gran Turismo.
Yeah, but I can't. but I'm just PSP site, the official PSP site, because they had that kid making videos. Uh, oh, now I remember he's Marcus. Marcus Kevin Butler. That's his name. Was something with B A K.
Oh, that's not the guy I
Yeah.
was talking about.
What? What else? Who were you talking about? Weren't
Uh,
you
I think
talking about Kevin Butler?
no, it was like 2 years ago at E3, at the Sony press conference. They were showing off some Gran Turismo stuff, but the guy behind Gran Turismo, he only speaks Japanese, so they had a translator guy there, and he would just look down on his paper, and he didn't really care about anything that was going on, and it became a meme.
Uh, yeah, I don't think he's going to be hired again. But I think a lot of people is gonna be happy to see Kevin Butler up on the stage again. Probably making some small jokes. At least thought it was a great sensation having him in the press conference last year.
Let me just show you this video because it's hilarious. There you go.
I'm checking it out now. But it's hard for I don't know what Sony's going to do actually to make this up again.
Yeah, but Nintendo's
Yeah,
definitely switched it.
I actually remember this.
He became such a meme. He didn't look up at all.
Yeah, I remember him. He just looked at it, but I think it's hard for translators in general because nobody's actually interested in them. They just wanna understand what the interesting guy is saying. But yeah.
It's funny. He's not he's not writing down anything the guy's saying. He's translating it in his head. It's just the notepad's there. He's like doing Sudoku or something.
Or it could be scripted for him. Maybe somebody translated to him, and the translate couldn't be there, and he got out. I don't know. It's weird. I definitely agree with you. It's weird to say, but you're probably not going to see him any again because Gran Turismo is out on PlayStation and portable, PlayStation Portable. So
Yeah.
that's great. But maybe they're going to use him again. He did a great job translating,
Yeah.
but maybe he's not doesn't have that personality that what they're looking for.
He doesn't have the charisma.
Yeah. Who knows? But well, that's pretty much it for Let's Talk Games. I will thank you a lot for joining me this week here, and it's been a pleasure having you on. We always talk about games when we are not recording, so I thought it was time to actually do this since we talk pretty much almost daily. So yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me on. It's been fun.
Yeah, and we're definitely I'm definitely going to have you on again. Maybe already next week or when I actually get around to recording.
All right, that sounds fine.
This sounds fine. Yeah, thank you for it, and thank you for listening, people. Until then, bye.